Inaugural Lecturer of the University of Calabar. My name is Professor of the Department of Economics. Out of the light that covers me, black as a beat from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the firm clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms for the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gates, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That prologue, that little piece, is from William Ernest Henley, who lived from 1849 to 1903 in his book Discourse. The spirit, resilience, discipline, and philosophical depth captured in Henley's Invictus vividly encapsulates the academic journey, personal ethos, and professional life, the distinguished scholar we gather to celebrate here today. Might therefore, Mr. Vice Chancellor, with all pleasure, kindly request Professor Dr. Engineer Inah Eteng Okon to rise for recitation. A hand of applause, please. Professor Inah Eteng Okon is a professor of urban and regional development planning, transport systems, geographic information systems, and remote sensing, the Department of Geography and Environmental Science, Faculty of Environmental Science, University of Calabar. He is an accomplished teacher, a researcher who has taught widely across departments, faculties, and postgraduate programs, supervising postgraduate diploma, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral students with a common commitment and intellectual depth. With over 17 years of academic experience, including 4 years at the rank of full professor, Professor Okon has built a distinguished career in education, higher education for that matter, marked by methodological rigor, interdisciplinary engagement, and policy relevance. He's very skilled in quantitative techniques, GIS and remote sensing application, deploying these tools in teaching, research, community development, and evidence-based policy analysis. His expertise spans urban and regional development planning, transport systems planning, sustainable development, climate change, adaptation, and mitigation, disaster risk management, environmental impact assessment, spatial and locational analysis, among many others. Professor Okon's scholarly focus is on the development and management of efficient, resilient, inclusive, and sustainable human settlement. His research occupies a critical intersection between human systems, environment, and economy, generating context-sensitive solutions to global development challenges such as climate change impacts, natural resource depletion, socio-spatial inequality, and exclusionary urban space production policies and practices. Born on the 12th of September 1978, to the family of Chief Eteng Okon, Ubing Nkong, and Mrs. Eteng Okon of Ijimana Faben and Akonta Faben, respectively, in Pani, Yakon local government area of Cross River State, Professor Okon is a fourth of 7 children. He began his educational journey at government primary school at Faben, Pani, and later attended secondary school in Pani, where he obtained his secondary school certificate and West African School Certificate in 1992 and 1993. In 1996, he gained admission into the University of Uyo, graduating in 2000 with a second-class upper division. Put your hands together, please, for him. His calm disposition, intellectual seriousness, and discipline endeared him to his teachers, including late Professor Ayang, who, on seeing the graduating class result, famously described him as a hidden entity. Put your hands once together for him. During his National Youth Service Corps in 2000, Professor Okon demonstrated rare academic foresight by using his first month's allowance to purchase a postgraduate admission form into the University of Calabar. He pursued this master's degree in environmental resources planning and management from 2002 to 2004, when he successfully completed it. He immediately proceeded to doctoral studies in the same department, specializing in transport planning, which he completed in a record 3 academic years, thus becoming a PhD holder in 2008. Can do better, please. While actively working on his doctoral research, Professor Okon simultaneously enrolled for a master's degree in geographic information systems at the University of Ibadan in 2007. Undertaking 2 demanding postgraduate programs across different regions of Nigeria was an academic feat that tested and affirmed his exceptional discipline and resilience. He joined the University of Calabar as an assistant lecturer in May 2008. True to his lifelong commitment to intellectual growth, he proceeded in 2012 to earn a postgraduate diploma in urban management tools for climate change at the Institute of Housing Studies, Erasmus University, Rotterdam. Put your hands together once again. That same year, he enrolled for an MSc in Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation, specializing in urban planning and management at the University of Twente, Netherlands, which he completed in 2014. During this period, in the Netherlands, Professor Okon pioneered a video-based methodology for estimating bicycle level of service through a case study in Bogota system in Colombia. This innovative work earned him institutional commendations, a cover feature in the university's monthly digest, and the offer of a fully funded PhD, which he graciously declined. However, he later mentored another student in the project. At his graduation, he was described as one of the few audacious African scholars who studied in Europe and conducted field research in South America, thus traversing 3 continents in just 18 months. Professor Okon is widely published nationally and internationally, has presented papers at numerous conferences, and serves as a reviewer and guest editor for reputable journals in housing, transport, and the geosciences. He is the author of the forthcoming book, Housing and Transportation for Urban and Regional Development Planning in Nigeria. His academic and professional service record includes serving as secretary, Geography and Environmental Science Departmental Board, Pioneer Acting Department, Head of Department of Architecture 2018 to 2022, Visiting Professor, Urban Cycling Institute, Amsterdam 2024 to 2025, Adjunct Professor, Center for Disaster Risk Management and Development Studies, University of Port Harcourt 2017 to 2019, and Adjunct Senior Lecturer, Cross River State University 2016 to 2018. He is the founder and CEO of the Green Pedal Development Foundation. Other positions include NUC Lead Scholar, Environmental Impact Assessment Reviewer with the Federal Ministry of Environment, and an accredited consultant with NASARI. He also examines master's and doctoral theses for several universities within and outside Nigeria. Having obtained full professorship In May 2024, effective 2021, Professor Okon's delivery of an inaugural lecture just over a year later, in December 2025, decisively dispels the myth that such scholarly milestones are reserved only for age. It affirms instead that excellence, consistency, and impact define academic maturity. Professor Okon is a brilliant mind whose work in urban development, transport system, GIS, and remote sensing continues to reshape modern thinking. Backed by scholarly exploits in Africa, Europe, and South America, he stands out for his intellectual depth, clarity, and visionary approach to sustainable mobility. His brilliant ideas challenge assumptions. His brilliant ideas spark innovation. His brilliant ideas push society towards smarter and people-centered development. This inaugural lecture, therefore, Mr. Vice Chancellor, presents another opportunity to witness the brilliance of a professor whose intellectual impact speaks for itself. Professor Inah Okon is a very disciplined scholar in every respect. A mind worth listening to, a voice worth hearing, and a scholar worth celebrating. He's married to Mrs. Quinette Inah, an accomplished medical practitioner and development worker, and their union is blessed with these adorable children. Put your hands together for the family, please. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to present to you on this auspicious and memorable day a gentleman par excellence, an outstanding scholar, a young, vibrant professor, cycling enthusiast and bicycle professor, a faithful husband, a loving father, a trustworthy friend, a brother to many, a man of grace, power, purpose, and beauty, a gentleman of poise, charm, elegance, uncommon brilliance, and sophistication, a unique teacher that stands out in his style and delivery. I present to this esteemed gathering of dazzling minds a man with the biblical spirit of the Lord, wisdom and understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. A professor of urban and regional development planning, transport systems, geographic information system, and remote sensing. I present to you, dear brethren, Mr. Vice Chancellor, the 155th Inaugural Lecturer of the University of Calabar, Professor Dr. Engineer Inah Eteng Okon.
adjust it. It will be better. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols already established. I like to start by acknowledging the supremacy of the Almighty God in my life, and to also seize the moment to thank the Vice Chancellor and management of the University of Calabar for this approval given to do my inaugural lecture in the series. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it is with an overwhelming sense of gratitude to Almighty God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, that I stand in good mind and sound mind before this eminent gathering of university principal officers. I'd like to thank the citation reader, Professor Barrister Leonel Efio. The delivery is such that anybody can fall in love with you. And I am particularly very grateful. You've won yourself a new friend, and I can only but say thank you so very much. Principal officers, provosts, deans, directors, heads of departments, royal and spiritual fathers, family members, teachers and mentors, colleagues, staff, students, members of the press, and well-wishers to deliver the 155th lecture in the series of Inaugural Lecture in the University of Calabar, Calabar. This 155th Inaugural Lecture of the University of Calabar, Calabar is a fourth in the Department of Geography and Environmental Science, Faculty of Environmental Sciences. Incidentally, the three earlier inaugural lectures from the department had been from the area of regional planning, biogeography, and geomorphology. I appreciate God that my inaugural lecture today is the fourth from the department and yet the first in the area of urban planning, regional development, transport systems, geographic information system, and remote sensing. My career adventure into the field of urban and regional development planning, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, transport system, geographic information system, and remote sensing was a true manifestation of the fulfillment of the divine purpose of God in my life. I never dreamed or thought I would ever be an academic, but the divine providence of God had enabled me to become one. I stand before you to render an account of my little contribution to knowledge, Mr. Vice Chancellor. While I give all the glory and honor to Almighty God for this day, I cannot, in all fairness, forget to acknowledge the role of Sir Professor Richard Olu Sule of blessed memory. My greatest wish today would have been that I have him seated there, nodding his head at his product. But who are we to question the supreme mercy of God? But to acknowledge and accept all things that they are to the glory of God. Bible says in Psalm chapter 37, verse 23, the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord, and so were mine. My choice of sciences in secondary school were deeply rooted in the desire to study medicine. This dream could not become a reality owing to my inability to credit physics. I also failed exams. Physics was actually a subject I loved so much. And I was actually, at that level, I thought I was so good at it, but I failed. The next bus stop actually became geography. This marked the birthing of this geographer at the prestigious University of Calabar of Uyo in 1996. An inaugural lecture is an occasion of significance in the career of an academic and a core university tradition worldwide. There are two schools of thought on the delivery of inaugural lecture. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the first school of thought is of the opinion that inaugural lecture offers a scholar, especially a newly promoted professor, to present a public lecture relating to their field of study, to share their achievements in research, innovation, engagement, and teaching activities before an audience of members of the university community to mark their appointment and promotion. Accordingly, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the University of Calabar in the rules on inaugural lecture stipulates within 5 years of being promoted as a full professor. According to the second school of thought, it is a platform for a professor, not necessarily a new one, but a public servant, to profess his or her expertise, thereby giving an account of his or her stewardship. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I belong to the former class. I have carefully read the research trajectory to date, spanning more than a decade based on the experience garnered over these years in cities, and therefore, I have chosen to speak on the topic which aptly describes the nucleus of my academic voyage, tokenism of pedal to people, the bicyclist as the king. I have carefully addressed the questions of the why now, the what if, and the where of this inaugural lecture. First is the question of why now. Some friends and colleagues had confronted me with the question of why now, and I have sarcastically responded as, why not now? Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the first school of thought in inaugural lecture already vindicates me. I have spent, technically, 4 years as a full professor, and so therefore, I reserve the right to do an inaugural lecture. As a development personnel, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I consider this inaugural lecture as part of the much needed advocacy that can encourage community involvement in cycling initiatives and events, which will in turn foster a cycling culture capable of enhancing an egalitarian society. The what if question presents cycling as a sustainable alternative to motorized transport and challenges the business as usual approach in the Nigerian urban transport system. It emphasizes cycling as an eco-friendly alternative to vehicular traffic, reducing carbon emissions and highlighting the physical and mental health and advantages of regular cycling to the body. The way of the lecture discusses the need for better cycling infrastructure, such as dedicated bike lanes and parking facilities in cities where there exist traffic congestion issues. The experience of developing countries in this regard, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, is nothing but abysmal failure to address transport challenges in a sustainable manner that mimics the progress made in developed countries. According to Eric Overby in haiku poems, it is the simple things in life that make up the bulk of it. This inaugural lecture, Mr. Vice Chancellor, was absolutely intended to focus on a very simple solution to the wicked problem, climate change. And it is expected to spark a renaissance in cycling and other non-motorized transport options in Calabar, Nigeria, and indeed the sub-region. In the words of Chinua Achebe, the world is like a mask dancing. If you want to see it, well, you do not stand in one place. Our cyclists move. And by moving, we see not just the road, but the soul of a people untamed, the unbroken, and ultimately unforgettable. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. The population concentration in less developed countries challenges the available infrastructure to accommodate them. We know so very much that what actually stimulated urban growth in the developed countries was availability of opportunities, industrial revolution, that marked the industrial revolution. The case for developing countries is different. It is a characteristic feature of lack of good life in the suburbs that has continued to present a pull force that drags people into the urban center. And the unfortunate thing is that the urban center, Mr. Vice Chancellor, is not even prepared for this kind of concentration of people. However, history has already indicated very clearly that urbanization is the greatest of man's invention. Not the computer, not the aircraft, not AI, but the fact that you and I can come from different suburbs. You and I can come from different ethnic backgrounds. You and I can come from different orientation, and then, of course, we reside in one common area where we see ourselves as colleagues, we see ourselves as neighbors, we see ourselves as compatriots, and then we do one or two, three things that puts us together as humans. Cities in Africa and Asia have already shown a remarkable increase in their urban population, and of course, the challenge is that can the urban infrastructure grow in such a manner that is consistent with the expected volume of population that comes into the cities. That is the problem transport geography seeks to resolve. The physical environment in itself actually presents some constraints in terms of hydrology, in terms of topography, in terms of even climate to urban infrastructure. We know, of course, urban infrastructure is characterized by what we call footpath. So there is usually a relationship that urban transport system seeks to unravel. There is, in one end, what we call maybe point A, origin, and then point B, destination. In transport geography, actually, we say there is an origin, there is a desire and a fulfillment relationship. In other words, you don't undertake trips for the sake of undertaking trips. You undertake trips to be able to solve a problem, to be able to do what? To satisfy a need. For example, last week we were here for my sister's inaugural lecture. We made the same trip. Today we are here making the same trip, but for a different purpose. The lecture of Professor Inah Eteng Okon. There is this interplay between the atmosphere, the ecosphere, the hydrosphere, and then, of course, the lithosphere. They present what we call the paradox of mobility, and then its cost. It is the cost element in terms of, the demand. There's a cost, cost element also in terms of a footprint. There is also a cost element in terms of energy. And then, of course, who bears this? The user bears this. The community bears this, and then, of course, the environment bears this. Take for a fact that the environment has no defined boundaries. So therefore, what happens in Calabar, with time, continue to go beyond the administrative boundaries of Calabar, Cross River State, Nigeria, and even beyond. That's why we have impacts, somewhere in China, impacts somewhere in Europe, impact somewhere in America, alter the scope and, nature of our environment. And then, of course, we now cry that there is climate change. However, there is the opinion that climate has always been changing. Yeah, I'm not a better expert to, validate this argument. But, of course, climate has been changing, but not in the manner that it is doing today. Even when it was changing, the coping strategies of the environment were adequate to be able to absorb the shock. Not today. Today we build up everywhere. I just wonder if any one of you had been to site, undergoing development. The engineer feels so proud that he's declaring and pulling down all nature, to build infrastructure. At times, infrastructure that in developing countries automatically becomes abandoned in no time. Transport geography is unique in its purpose. It does help us to overcome space, to overcome, distance, and then it is the factor that shapes our very human existence. Of course, there are also constraints such as distance time, administrative divisions, and then, of course, we also have topography as a constraint. So usually we say transport geography is a subdiscipline of geography concerned with what the mobility of people, freight, communication, and then, of course, and its spatial organization. It includes attributes and constraints related to origin and destination, extent, nature, and purpose of mobility. But then, of course, there is usually friction. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I present a myth that is contained in the Greek literature. There was a guy referred to as Sisyphus. Sisyphus was a man who, for his misdeeds, was punished. And then the punishment was that he rose a big mass of stone, up a hill. And then each time he tried to do that, Mr. Vice Chancellor, the weight of the mass of stone, the mass of the stone, or the weight of the stone, falls down. And then certain, myths were learned from this repetition of wanting to roll the stone and the stone having to fall back, and then having to see him putting more effort and more energy, and then, of course, the team making maybe a little more, progress, and then it's still coming to fall back. So transport geography reduces the friction of distance, mostly through infrastructure, capacity, and technological improvements. So we say in geography, it is a function of effort, that effort is a function of distance, it is a function of volume, and then, of course, it is a function of friction. So another element of the myth, Mr. Vice Chancellor, is the fact that this repetition is what we now liken to trip making. We say trip purpose in transport geography, that transport is a derived demand, that it's not undertaken for its own sake, it's not undertaken for fun, it's undertaken for, for purpose. And such purpose could be learning, shopping, maybe going to church, going to see a family member, going to work, etc., etc. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some core principles of transport. We know of the derived demand nature. We also know that space can be a generator of transport needs, and then we also know that transport desires to be massified. It is massified, but of course, the reality usually reduces it to what we call the atomization, scenario. So essentially, we look at the importance of transport as being historical in nature, as being economic in nature, social, political, and environmental. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I may not have to bore us so much with this, but I would like to focus, speedily on the environmental dimensions of transport. One, climate change is changing because transport accounts for about 26% of the global carbon emission rate. So if we can solve 26% of 100% of carbon emission into the atmosphere, Mr. Vice Chancellor, you can agree with me that a progress must have been recorded. There is also the daunting challenge of air pollution, noise, water quality, soil quality, biodiversity, and land footprint. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I'd like to make a few comments on land footprint. Transportation thrives on infrastructure. Even the bicyclists that we are here to honor today also thrives on infrastructure. When you talk of the port system and you say, oh, it's just on the waterways, it bursts in the seaport. When you talk of the aircraft that, oh, it merely flies over the, our heads, yeah, but of course there must be an airport for it to eventually come down. When you talk of, mass transportation, you see humongous infrastructure such as parking, lots, such as, bus terminals or, railway terminals, etc. Of course, these remain, recognizable footprints on our urban landscape. Yeah, usually my lecturer, one of my lecturers in Holland will tell you, the level of development of any nation, is first expressed in its ability to organize its mobility. No wonder we are where we are, because as simple as mobility needs, as simple as mobility challenges in our urban centers, we are yet to address them. Mr. Vice Chancellor, it may offend you to listen to one former commissioner in River State say that traffic congestion in River State is indicative of the fact that River State is doing so very well, and he was applauded. How can traffic congestion in Port Harcourt be compared to the traffic of New York, the traffic of Rotterdam, the traffic of Amsterdam, the traffic of, virtually the big cities of the world, where we go to and you can, within seconds, navigate your way to your point of fulfillment. So, that already gave the world an indication of how well we reason over certain, problems that confront us. Mr. Vice Chancellor, this lecture is anchored on the theory of sustainability. We all know that in 1972, what we call the limits of growth by the Club of Rome suggests that there is the need for us to balance, our inner desires with the coping, abilities of the environment, so that we can bequeath to the next generation of our children what is better than what we enjoy. This led to the Cocoa Declaration that stated that sustainability relates inner limits of human needs with the outer limits of Earth's resources. Because Earth's resources, will always, they are not inexhaustible. They are actually exhaustible. Then sustainability, we know in the Broadland report, is defined, in 1987, is defined as, the development that meets our current needs, our current expectations, but without necessarily compromising the ability of future generations to do what? To also enjoy. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, climate change is a complex issue. It affects water, it affects food, it affects human health, it affects the environment. Now, transport, social sustainability, bicycling is expressed as transport policy that embodies the concept of sustainability as provided, above. So we now begin to see that transport system promotes accessibility, it promotes safety, it promotes mobility, affordability, comfort, it promotes equity, it promotes, people and environment friendliness. And then, of course, that is the way to go. Tokenism of pedal to people. Big grammar. Try to mesmerize the public, and then, out of this excitement, draw very simple moral lessons that helps to enhance or promote an egalitarian society, namely bicycling. So we think, it's just a single pedal, the contribution of a single pedal, just this. And then others say, no, it's just not that. It's got more to do with the policy, formulation that enables you to cycle in the first place. Because, of course, I talked about, transport footprint. Others say, the legislation that promotes or protects even this guy that cycles. And then others say, how about the infrastructure? So tokenism in this context, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, is an embodiment of all of this. My recommendations, Mr. Vice Chancellor, during the mock, somebody threatened me that there seemed to be like a orchestrated thing to have stray bullets hit everybody. And I was fast to say that one of the stray bullets that you're looking at didn't actually get to my VC, but on his table. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, we will get to that place, to that point. Pedal to accessibility. By providing safe and convenient biking options, the initiative can enhance mobility and access essential services such as jobs, education, emergency opportunities for underserved populations, etc. So that becomes a token from government. Hello, I hope we are following. The beauty of inaugural lecture is the fact that you can ask me a question. So I am the boss at the moment. So you just listen to me and you will follow through, such that your coming here is not just demonstration of your show of love to me, but the acceptance, like Anonymous will say, he who admits ignorance is already a wise man because he knows what he knows and then he knows what he doesn't know. So, the pedal to education and empowerment. By equipping residents with the tools and confidence to cycle, the initiative promotes what self-sufficiency and independence, particularly among youth and marginalized populations. So, our NGO, the Green Pedal Development Foundation, is already at the verge of launching what we call the Bike to School initiative, wherein we will be promoting cycling for utilitarian, measures. Pedal to environmental justice. By prioritizing investments in biking infrastructure in underserved areas, the initiative can address environmental inequalities and improve the quality of life for residents. This is what environmental advocacy requires. Oh, we bike, for fun. We bike for the environment. We cycle or we undertake climate ride. There are so many of these initiatives that are intended to do what? To draw the attention of policymakers to the fact that we can actually start small, but then, of course, secure very mighty goals. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, pedal to a sense of community. Cyclists generally tend to feel a good sense of community. I rode with my cycling friends, and when we sit on the bike, we are all equal. And that is what life is all about. Simple things of life. Pedal to safety. Cities with high bicycle rates already suggest reduce, transport-related accidents. You come to cities like Abuja, if you have any business to do, spending over 30 minutes or thereabout in certain areas, it's always traffic crashes. It's not different from other cities in Nigeria. But of course, the mere fact that you can have transport infrastructure, makes room for what we call traffic calming. That alone already reduces the anxiety and the desire to speed above limits. So therefore, the road is not just for motorized transport. The road should be planned to accommodate non-motorized alternatives as well. Pedal to health. Exercise is good for our physical health, and that biking is indeed a form of exercise. There's a cycling advocacy group in the US. They call them Bike Belong. They came up with a very ambitious findings of long accumulation of data from city to city in the US, and they were able to as said that 3 hours of biking per week reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke by 50%. 50% just cycling. Number 2, that women who bike 30 minutes plus a day have a lower risk of breast cancer. That adolescents who bike are 48% less likely to be overweight as adults. We don't emit carbon, Mr. Vice Chancellor. We just merely burn calories. And this is all we offer to our environment and health. Pedal to diversity. You come to many developed countries and then you just see the good, the bad, the tall, the short, the fat, the slim. Everybody, the fair, the dark, everybody is being, connected together by just the fact that they are cycling. And you find them make a whole lot of noise to fight cold, especially during winter. You hear certain remarks like, I love your jacket. I love the smell of your shampoo. I love your perfume. I love your shoes. I love your sneakers. I do this, I do that. These are people who don't know themselves, but they are just simply connected by the fact that they sit on bicycle. Mr. Vice Chancellor, that is a token. Pedal to equality. One of the phases of bicycle history, indicated how women, they rose up, using the bicycle to mobilize themselves and say enough of this male dominance in government, enough of this male dominance in politics, enough of this male dominance in the affairs. Recently we had a very heated, campaigns in the U.S. where, the U.S. was sharply divided. Others say, no, men cannot be the ones to tell women what to do about their health and their body. Others say, no, the fetus there, has the right, to live. So therefore, if we allow women to trample on them, it's like because they're doing that because this fetus is a lesser human. It's a smaller, human. So there is usually this controversy that comes with who should be in control. But women rose up, Mr. Vice Chancellor, using the bicycle to mobilize groups. And then, of course, today we have women in the affairs of nations. The bicyclist asking. Mr. Vice Chancellor, this lecture was intended not to waste your time, not to bore you, not to bore distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It was intended to go straight to the point. And Mr. Vice Chancellor, we try to conceptualize kinship and make justification for the bicyclist. We know that the king is super. In many cultures, he is a super human being. But my traditional, my obolo is not like that. It's accessible. You can see he's here today. One of my cousins, Mr. Vice Chancellor, made a comment. He said, I look forward to listening to you, to hear you unravel the kinship of the bicyclist as the one that doesn't harm its kingdom. Wow. We have several kings that harmed their kingdoms. I'm not fighting against motorization. The car as a king harms the kingdom of environment. And then you also have a situation where the bicyclist is doing nothing, yet is offering so much to how we can live in a more egalitarian nature. What defines culture, what defines tradition, what defines society is the reduction of this class thing. Yeah, in developing countries, we've tried to do what? To make the bridge even wider between the haves and the haves not, between the strong and the weak, between the poor and the opulent. But the cyclist does what? Embodies simplicity. It embodies sacrifice. It embodies selflessness. Kinship often represents authority, leadership, and responsibility. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we all admit your kinship in the University of Calabar. But today, beyond your kinship in the University of Calabar, we have a new king, the Bicyclist, Mr. Vice Chancellor. The Bicyclist embodies the traits through their role in promoting sustainable transport and good health. The king is first a prince. The prince is never born. The prince is produced. The prince is trained. The prince is made. Now, we have, I was going to paraphrase the Bible, and the first thing that, the first fear I had was that my pastor would be here, and I hope he will not regard me as, promoting heresy. But the Bible said in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go. And I paraphrase to say, teaching him to seek God's wisdom and will for his abilities and talents to do what? To cycle. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. This is typical of the Dutch system. 3 things are taught their children. Number 1, they teach them how consume, how to walk. First, how to walk. The moment children are able to walk, they teach them how to consume a lot of cheese. And then the third thing they teaches their children is to be on their own. So, in the overall, they actually teaches their children two things. Consume cheese, learn how to cycle, and then the rest is yours. But in my society, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, all we do is we chauffeur them to their schools. We go for them. We hand them mighty coolers of lunch boxes. We go for them, we bring them, and then we beg them to sleep. After begging them to sleep, we beg them to do their homework. And then looking at the homework, we realize that the nature of the homework is such that the child's capacity cannot handle that, and then we sit down again to help them in their homework. Mr. Vice Chancellor, what exactly do we teach our children? And these are schools where we pay hundreds of thousands of naira to accommodate our children, and yet we are still the ones not letting them learn anything. We have the bicyclist as king, as being a metaphorical leadership. We say metaphorical leadership emphasizes the parallels between cycling dynamics and effective leadership policies. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, we try to look at the bicycle and then to see that the bicycle is an embodiment of leadership that has a strategy, that has a feedback system, that has an accountability, an empower, option. We have engagement, which are usually the stroke, the pedals, and all of that. So the bicyclist can be seen as a leader in advocating for what? Environmental awareness and urban mobility. This choice to cycle can symbolize a commitment to healthier lifestyle and community engagement, and that is what defines the essence of urban life. The king imparts his community. And that is exactly what the bicyclists do. They impart their surroundings in ways that enhances the health conditions of the place, reducing obesity and related health issues, environment, reducing air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, local economies by boosting local businesses and cyclists. As cyclists often stop to shop, to perform other activities that does what? That promotes living where? Living in the urban center. A cultural association, is an embodiment of the cyclist. In some cultures, cycling is associated with freedom and independence, akin to the monarch's autonomy. This connection can enhance the narrative of the cyclist as a modern-day king or queen. What does he do? Because of cycling, I have my wonderful friends there. So we do what? We do health and fitness. We do what? We do social connect. We do what? We do sport and competition. We do what? We do leisure and recreation. And then, of course, at times, you see them in their bicycling gears. So that is fashion in itself, ladies and gentlemen. When you give a bicycle to your child, what you've simply given to that child is empowerment, personal empowerment. The simple act of riding a bicycle is a powerful step towards self-freedom, towards, personal realization, towards, personal acceptance of the challenges that lie ahead of you. In cycling, we say, you just continue to cycle. You just continue to pedal. Don't stop. The moment you stop, you fall off. Continue to pedal. That's typical of what the Bible, admonishes us to do. Move on. Just have faith in God and then continue to move. The bicycle is a tool for empowerment. The vehicle is not a tool for empowerment. It is not. We have a student in human genetics, Zion Paul. He is a member of our cycling club. He cycled from here to Abuja to meet his mentor, Moses Bliss. That is empowerment. And he drew international. In fact, he put the University of Calabar in the international map that somebody is doing how many kilometers from point A to point B just for the sake of promoting environment. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I've traversed almost all the continents of this world just because of what I profess to do, cycling. Yeah, because of cycling, I've gone, across the Atlantic. I've gone across the China, the South America, Asia, and then of course, we had one of these guys, Emmy Wooks. Emmy Wooks he's a Nigerian. What has he done? As we speak, he just crossed Senegal. Since 1st of August, this guy has undertaken to ride to the US. He is a Nigerian. He has put bicycling in Nigeria in the global map. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, Palace for the King as infrastructure for the cycling. So you cannot. However, many histories in Europe suggest, it revealed how people had to do what to undertake protests. Yeah, went to legislative houses and then did all sorts of things to be able to do what to register their interest in cycling. But then the age we are in, the bicyclist has the right to infrastructure because there is not a single king without a palace. So you look at somewhere in Amsterdam, you see an underground parking lot that looks like what Nigeria would have called a mansion, just a parking lot for cyclists. And then I did a walk in Bogota where I saw this beautiful tunnel. We cycled across it, 1 kilometer long of tunnel just for bicyclists. Then, of course, I went to one place called Ostia Antigua, 30 kilometers southwest of Rome. This road path, this asphalted, infrastructure, was before Christ. That means there was no vehicle, there was no bicycle, but even the horse of the king wasn't allowed to walk on earth. They built this. How much more today? I have several examples. Look at this. Belgium, a bicycle path through the woodlands. Look at this. Solar panel bypass in Seoul. That I think about the 75,000, different solar panels on the road, on the cycle path. Then this Van Gogh part in Amsterdam. At night, the place is like, a theater. Why? They just want to recognize the kingship of the bicyclist. This is what we call the Bicyclist Lake in Copenhagen. There's a famous, this is an arbor. There's a famous shopping area here that, we just cycle to get in there to shop. Not for any other thing, but to present something that looks more like an attraction, for people to have reason to come into Copenhagen. And then this is Tokyo's underground bike parking facility, and this is 3 kilometer long tunnel in Bergen, Norway. The bicyclist is the king. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in many countries, the safety of the bicyclist is as important as the safety of the king. We see what we would like to call the commoners, the masses. They are cycling on the same path as the king and the princess of the Netherlands, as the prime minister who went to submit his proposal for the formation of a new government. That is symbolic. That is symbolic. You also have the king always having, the king does not come here. My traditional ruler did not come in here to announce himself that he is the king. By his mere appearance, you just know that he is the king. So this picture is in German, China, when I went for a conference, and I was taken aback by the mass of bicyclists that litter the streets of Germany. So the bicyclist is the king. The king is accessible. Hundreds and thousands of cyclists use the path on a typical day. So what do? They communicate to themselves. They talk. The exchanges gestures, and many testimonies, are all over the whole place. How people even got to marry themselves, by merely, encountering themselves on the road while cycling. Over the years, cyclists have developed the art of communicating with fellow riders using hands, signs, gestures, eye contact, etc. to familiarize themselves. Mr. Vice Chancellor, my contributions. Climate change and challenges of flood mitigation in Calabar South. We were able to get data from sea level rise, data on population, on rainfall, and then we also looked at land use map that shows us where we had previous vegetated surfaces and where we also have, non-built up areas. So we were able to generate, flood vulnerability maps, and then we came up with a digital elevation model that showed that already 60% of the city of Calabar, Mr. Vice Chancellor, is prone to flooding. We made some counseling recommendations, some of whom already have been in existence. We did a work on residents' willingness to adopt cycling as intracity transport in Calabar, Nigeria. So essentially, we were able to see that the model, we used a lot of statistics. We had statistics, we have flavor for statistics. So we use statistics to model the willingness of people to do or to cycle. And we realized that, about 29% of our respondents were very unwilling. So the model could effectively predict that 29% of residents are not willing to cycle. It's not a frequency thing, it's a modeling effort. And then 66% were of the opinion that these, given certain conditions, maybe infrastructure and the rest, we can cycle, we can change our mind. We did another work on pedestrianism as effective tool for sustainable intracity commuting, that people could walk, and then we have the results, highlighted there. We did resident cycling perception as a fundamental alternative to cycling promotion in Calabar, southern Nigeria. We did another one on residents, ordinary regression modeling of tricycle modal comfort in Calabar, Nigeria. We're able to see that so many people are not comfortable with that mode. The only reason that keeps them using that mode is lack of choice. Some of our, collector streets do not have anticipated, transport system, so it is only KK that can apply such rules. We did logistic regression analysis of drivers' behavior in Calabar metropolis, and we realized that, we have one of the worst driving, abilities in Calabar. We just drive the way we like. And, that is because most of the vehicles we have on the road are from people who don't require a license to drive. They just hop into a minibus, they hop into a KK, and then they start driving. We did another work, which was measurement of accessibility to job locations in the socially excluded areas of Calabar metropolis, southern Nigeria. We used what we call the kernel density estimation to show the distances that people travel to their areas of need, areas where there are job locations. We had all of these models as shown. We did another one, accessibility to job locations in Calabar metropolis, and we employ, statistical theories, to be able to do these estimations. Then housing-related urban poverty, and then Mr. Vice Chancellor, this is instructive because we did this only last year, and it was, we presented this work in Zurich, where we had, the urban cycling conference. This, showed that in the totality of our transport legislation, there is not even the mention of sustainable transport. Yes, there's not the mention of cyclists, bicyclists, there's not the mention of pedestrians. It's all about what the motorists must have, what the motorists must not have, and all of that. So, but these same guys, the moment they leave this place, what do? They get into a system where cycling is the norm, and then they immediately, fall into line and even fall in love with cycling. yeah, we came up with these findings, and then the paper is under consideration, Mr. Vice Chairman. We did another work with urban cycling, where I did my visiting professorship, and this is real-time estimation of models that creates a dashboard where Decathlon is an international cycling dealer, where they did what? Where they offer tokens. This is the second dimension, the second school of thought of tokenism. They offer tokens to employees who cycle, and they use real-time health conditions like high blood pressure, body mass index, and a whole lot. It's confidential data that we were entrusted in to be able to design a dashboard, and today they are implementing Europe-wide. We did a statistical estimation to bicycle level of service, which is just, Mr. Vice Chancellor, a way to have respondents tell us how satisfied they are using a particular bicycling infrastructure. And that work has been, has received, like my citation reader pointed out, commendation from the university, because we pioneered, a methodology that was new to my department, which was video-based, and then we had more than 8 different levels of data. And I remember when I was defending this work in my university, everybody was like, how possible was it to come together, with 8 different, data levels to estimate, and of course, that earned us, a cover page in our institution's digest. Mr. Vice Chancellor, for want of time, I will go straight to my service to the university. Yeah, I've done a book which is yet to be published, it's about to be published, and then I've done some couple of manuals in GIS, and I've been teaching Mr. Vice Chancellor for the past 17 years, and I've taught over 30 courses across different faculties and different universities in Nigeria and globally, supervising undergraduates, supervising postgraduates at all levels, and I have successfully supervised about 8 PhDs and more than 15 MScs and over 50 BScs. Service to the university, I've been an assistant exams officer, I've been a member of ERM board, I've been secretary of departmental board, I've been an NUC accreditation committee member, I've been chairman needs assessment, GIS needs assessment, I've been faculty, rep, I've been departmental secretary, I've been the pioneer head of department of architecture, where I served the 2 terms. I'm also, the Director of Environment and Social Safeguards in the French Development Agency, Federal Government ICT Development Project in UNICA. I've established a non-profit, the Green Pedal Development Foundation, since 2016. And that NGO has been in the forefront of the advocacy that cycling be given its pride of place in urban mobility. We've done workshops, we've done trainings, we've done consultations, we've done mentorship and tutoring. Mr. Vice Chancellor, it will interest you to know that, we teach people how to cycle, and most people, when we've assisted about, I think, 4 students to securing full scholarship into their different levels of masters, and of course, Mr. Vice Chancellor, they continue to come to learn how to cycle in our NGO. We even had testimonials of people who said, what lured them into cycling was in the first place depression, and we wouldn't know. But we just have a community, why? Because the bicyclist is entirely the king. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, yes, this bullet will not get to you, but it stopped on your table because you have this, what the Bible called the bracelet, the chest shield and all of that. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I call for wholeheartedly the establishment of Center for Sustainable Transportation in the University of Calabar. Yes. This center will be patterned after institutions like urban cycling in the Netherlands and sustainable transportation, sustainable departments in many universities in the US. There is also, Mr. Vice Chancellor, the urgent call for us to develop pop-up bike lanes. Pop-up bike lanes does not require additional infrastructure. All we needed to do is just separate, maybe a meter out of what already exists as our road, where, people can cycle, students can cycle. And Mr. Vice Chancellor, I'm also, offering the availability of Green Pedal Development Foundation to partner with the university to do what? To establish a free cycling bicycle scheme. Mr. Vice Chancellor, that's culture everywhere in many universities, even in Nigeria. So the University of Calabar cannot be an exception. We must cycle, Mr. Vice Chancellor. Generally, there must be a shift in the way and manner we implement cycling. There's what we call the avoid, shift, improve. So we avoid certain trips. We improve, we shift to motorized, non-motorized systems, and then, of course, we can move on to, updating what already exists as the national transport policy. It's being obsolete. It doesn't, incorporate innovation. It does not incorporate sustainability, and it does not, incorporate technology into the transport planning of Nigeria. At the level of state, Mr. Vice Chancellor, we are of the opinion that we adopt the land use strategy. We develop new and design new existing walkways. We close up the white market. There's nowhere in the world where a route, a CBD is exposed to that level of traffic that we have around the white market area. We can actually close up that place and make it a pedestrian-friendly zone where traffic will be diverted into Merislezo, and then, of course, people can walk comfortably and bicycle into and out of white market, Mr. Vice Chancellor. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we've also recommended that the 31 days or 31 or 32 days tourism, what we have as a Carnival Calabar, should actually have a day dedicated to a car-free day where people can cycle freely, where people can walk freely and promote healthy environment. Then, of course, at the local level, we feel that local authorities can develop bike sharing programs. They can, develop their own pop-up bike lanes. They can also, establish bike to school programs. Access to data is very key here. We've recommended that, access to our data. Of course, Mr. Vice Chancellor, it is unfortunate that even now as a nation, we do not have, shape file of our population at enumeration area level. So that is data that is available in every other website in the world, except in Nigeria. So it robs us of big data analytics. It robs us of geographic information, systems. It robs us of data visualization and machine learning. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we also, at the urban residence level, plead that everybody gets a bike. Everybody must get a bike. That is our token. That is what promotes sustainability. Mr. Vice Chancellor, having done that, then, of course, you must repent that Jesus Christ loves you. Thank you for listening. Acknowledgements. To God Almighty be all the glory. I'd like to formally and specially thank Mr. Vice Chancellor, Professor Eteng Okon, for not only approving for this inaugural lecture consecutively in the last 3 weeks since assuming office, but also making our time to personally attend this event. My sincere gratitude to you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Management staff and students of this great citadel of learning, thank you for all your respective roles in my academic voyage. Special thanks also to the all strongman, Mr. Upaya Ayi. I call him the VC producer. The guy is powerful. I'd like to say thank you for your wide counsel. Thank you, the people in human resources and establishment. Thank you for the people in the information unit. All my primary school teachers, I say thank you so very much for the sacrifices you've made. You've chosen to mentor and mold us up to what we become, not for the love of money, but for the passion that you have to leave a legacy that transcends this generation. University of U, I'd like to thank all my colleagues in the 1996 search. I'd like to thank that Department of Geography and Regional Planning that offered the foundation upon which I'm standing today. to University of Calabar. I say special thanks to the Department of Geography and Environmental Sciences. I say special thanks to the faculty. And I must say a special thank you to the Dean of Faculty, Professor Okbelia, who incidentally has shown so much of love, who incidentally has been a friend and mentor, who incidentally has been instrumental to all that I have achieved since the passing of Professor Sule. But special thanks to all the senior professors also in the department, Professor Bisson, Professor Effie Bisson, Professor Basieze, Professor Didieni, Professor Animwa Jake, Professor Ekpo, and others too, Professor Isuka, and all my colleagues in GES. I say thank you so very much for your role. The role of Professor P.C. Mom and Professor Raphael Ofyong in this regard is also well acknowledged. My teachers in the University of Ibadan, I say thank you. Thank you for the support system. In fact, it's more appropriate to mention the name of Professor Bola Ayeni, who supervised my MSc thesis and who was such a very wonderful person. Likewise, special thanks to all my teachers in the Institute for Housing, Erasmus University, Rotterdam, Netherlands, for their role in shaping my research skills. The role of Stelos, Graphagos, Ogilis Brillanti, Orefika, Carlos, and a host of others is well acknowledged. The transforming role of the famous Information Science and Net Observation University of 20 is also acknowledged. This institution is nicknamed International Torture Center. But of course, I would like to thank Engineer Van der Bosch and Mark Bruzel for their outstanding role in my career path. Parents and family, unquantifiable thanks go to my parents for their love and selfless sacrifice to afford me college education. Having siblings, almost all of whom are graduates, points to the sacrifice you endured. For this, my love and loyalty to you is eternal. Thank you, Papa, for all that you have done. Thank you, Mama, for all you represent to us. I'd like to also acknowledge the love I share with my siblings, Sister Isabu and family, Sister Comfort and family, Sister Margaret and family, Brother Michael and family, and of course, Brother Ashala. Brother Ashala and family have been outstanding in all aspects, and I am eternally grateful for all that they do. I often say that he is my last defense. He is my full back. Brother Ka, thank you so very immensely. The encouragement I received from Uncle Basi Okoko, retired DIG and Obonkam of Pani, he has been unprecedented. He kept pushing me, do it, do it. You don't need millions to do it. It's commitment that you need to do it. Come on. Thank you so very much. To my in-laws, Mr. and Mrs. Jacob Burek and their wonderful children. Special thanks to Jackie, Fatima, Dode Yegoswe for being so amazing to me. You are my real good support system. The role of my teachers, too numerous to mention, is well acknowledged. I'm a product of your love and sacrifice, for which I am eternally grateful. The mentorship, love, and support of His Excellency Chief Clement David Debris, I know he's watching as we speak, is mostly acknowledged. The most distinguished Senator Eteng Williams, who unfortunately is not able to make it, is also acknowledged. He's a worthy brother who has been very supportive of my pursuits, for which I am grateful. Professor Oyeshiku Kayode mentored me from afar since having an encounter with him in Kumasi, Ghana. Since then, Professor Oyeshiku has been a mentor to me. I also like to acknowledge the intellectual, mentorship that I received from Professor Obunga Martins, whose show of love to me and family has been exceptional in every respect. I love you, sir. Since you started the years where I am incidentally the vice president, it has been, a different level of stretch in the way I am expected to think. Sir, I say thank you so very much. Architect Ikwe James, I thank you so very much for making my role as Pania, head of department in the Department of Architecture, being one that is impactful. Architect Ikwe, thank you so very much. You are still mentoring us, and we still see you carry the department to enviable heights. We say a very big thank you to you. Special thanks to my spiritual father and mother, Pastor and Mrs. Sam Eko. Your guidance counsel is legit and spirit-filled. Thank you for inspiring us in simplicity, transparency, and faithfulness. God bless you, Sam. And to all my brethren in Calamus Encounter Church, the Calamus elders, the mighty men, Open District, and a host of others, thank you for your warm fellowship. God bless you. My community, I appreciate you. I appreciate Obolopon. I appreciate, his traditional rulers here present. I thank you so very much for all that you have done for me. Yes, my special thanks to the President, Professor Obol Martins, ESCO, and entire members of Yako Academic Society, where I currently serve, like I've said, as VP. I thank you so very much. Members of the Inaugural Planning Committee, Warren Buffett opined that an idiot without a plan can with a plan can beat a genius without a plan. Thank you. The role of Dr. Linus Ake as the chairman and barrister Dr. Innocent Ekwok as organizing secretary have been very instrumental. Thank you, all the members of the committee. Thank you for your selflessness. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for all that you have done. The Green Pedal Development Foundation, thank you also. My students and mentees, thank you. I would have loved to speak so much about engineer Dr. Wada, Musa Wada. Please, can you just wave to us? Can you just wave to us? Thank you so very much. Finally, I'd like to thank God enough. I cannot thank God enough for the legit and sincere partner, my Kede, my Achalugo, my soulmate, my baby for life, Her Majesty. Her Majesty, Queen Etansime Inah. Your sacrifice is well acknowledged, especially with having to cope with raising our children, Jesam David, Jaye Oswake, Efayoba Serugo. Thank you for choosing to share your life with me. Your love has filled my world with happiness, and I'm endlessly grateful to God for being your husband. I love you so very much and for enduring the sacrifice of being the good wife to me and sweet mother to our children. I dedicate the success of this inaugural lecture to you and the supremacy of the God Almighty. The Bible says His faithfulness endures forevermore. A Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you so very much.
Well done, Prof. But you took 45 minutes extra. Next time, it won't be accepted. Please, let's always keep to time, because in inaugural lecture, we're meant to follow the time. Please, may we be seated. Thank you, Prof, for that topic that you have really expanded for us to understand. I think, ladies and gentlemen, by the points, not few points, numerous points that he has given this evening, we are all convinced beyond reasonable doubt that we should all purchase bicycles. If you are with me, say yeah. And begin to ride from Calabar to Sokoto. If you are with me, say yeah. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to invite the Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this occasion, Professor Fiong Efang Fiong, to step forward for presentation of the lecture notes and also exchange of memento by the inaugural lecturer.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Ofiong. It is my pleasure, it is my privilege to be able to do this inaugural and to so graciously receive your support. I present this lecture text, which is the 155th Inaugural Lecture in the University of Calabar, to you on behalf of myself, my family, the Department of Geography and Environmental Science, and indeed the Faculty of Social Sciences. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor. Sorry, Mr. Vice Chancellor. As a bridge of a little bridge of protocol, sir, I also want to dedicate and donate this bicycle to my department as my token. I rode it to this place. I'm doing something else back home.
Well, thank you. Let me thank you for the inaugural lecture. A good presentation. We shall talk later on that. And also for the bicycle, I hope that your head of the department is here, and this will be received and will be used by everybody in the department. So thank you. So head of the department, make sure you make good use of this and maintain it well. Thank you. So in appreciation by the university for your various contributions to knowledge and the university system, as the 155th Inaugural Lecturer, we present this memento to you. This is to encourage you to continue to do more research. Maybe in the next 5 years, we should be able to boast of how many people have owned a bicycle because of this.
Thank you, Professor Inah, for that fine delivery. You have been able to contextualize tokenism of the pedal to the people into urban planning, and also showcase the positive externalities that can be generated if we go into cycling. In urban planning, you have helped us to understand that in designing roads, providing for individuals to walk, that is also important, that will provide a channel for bicycle riders to use safely. And also need to provide parking spaces for bicycle in institutions and in public services. When it comes to the positive externalities, I see 3 areas: environmental sustainability, social cohesion, and economics. In environmental sustainability, you have showcased that riding bicycle does not generate any greenhouse emission gas that creates any toxic air that pollutes our environment. And in the social cohesion, where you bring the symbolism of kingship, that as people ride together, they will be able to develop leadership skills. And the economics, which is my own takeaway, that I can save a lot of money if I park my car and use bicycle. Go and calculate it. 30,000 a week for fuel times 4 times 12 is a lot of money if I park my car. Thank you for that fine delivery. I want to especially thank the Vice Chancellor for finding time, despite the busy schedule for today, to be here. We really appreciate that. We also want to thank the 2 DVCs who are here, Professor Tony Enyang and Professor Kafo, Professor Ntui, the librarian, the Provost of College, Postgraduate College, the Provost of College of Education, Professor Cabret. Thank you, Ma. The Vice Chancellor had already acknowledged you, but we need to acknowledge you and acknowledge you for showing good example of what professorship should be like, even after, although you are emeritus professor, but you show leadership by always being here. That's a source of encouragement for all of us. Thank you very much for council members who are here, the deans who are here, especially the Dean of Environmental Science, the HOD. You have a bicycle. You are close to me. I'll come and borrow the bicycle too. All the HODs who are here, the Senate members who are here, thank you for coming. And all those who are robed, that we cannot mention your name individually. We come to the bicycle people. You are here. We acknowledge you. The Obolopon, welcome, sir, for coming. We also want to acknowledge all those who cannot mention who are the inaugural lecturers' friends, the citation reader. That was very good. And I didn't expect you to do anything less. Thank you very much for that. And the friends, I've seen friends here. Abri, you are here. And incidentally, the inaugural lecturer lives in my neighborhood. I've seen some of our friends in the neighborhood. Gabriel Ochicha, you're welcome. And those I cannot see from here, you are all welcome. I want to acknowledge the Development Division. The director is here. I want to acknowledge the Information Unit and the Vice Chancellor's entourage. And then to the inaugural lecturer family. Let me borrow the word of Professor Inah. My Majesty. You are welcome. He has already described you perfectly well. You can see that you have provided the environment for him to thrive. And when you go home, you know what to do to him so that he can continue to thrive. Thank you for the children who are here and those who are in different colors. We appreciate you. And all the traditional institutions that are here. And all the friends who are here, we acknowledge you. Thank you very much for coming. Incidentally, this is the last inaugural lecture for the year. And next year, we look forward to more intellectual insight and intellectual feast that will benefit from. And God bless you as you enjoy the holidays. Please, play safe and drive safely. And don't overdrink. Thank you very much.
As we come to the end
livestock production. Today, we've also heard from Professor Okon that the environment can also affect our well-being. And we, as stakeholders in a sustainable environmental protection in our country, can also play our part in sustaining a stable environmental situation for us. And I think it's important also to mention, and very, very important, that when an environment is polluted here, it's not localized here. The environmental factor is a dynamic one. And what harm you do to environment goes far beyond your imagination. And I used to hear when I was young in my place, they say when you go to do something in the river or in the stream, you might think the water had carried it away, but you don't know whether in your mother's side somebody is drinking that water. So what this calls for is a collective action to protect the environment. The lecture has also shown us that there is a link between environmental situation of every city and the traffic congestion. Well, I don't know what was the measure of chaotic traffic situation in a particular city with the wealth of that city. But for much I know, as an environmentalist, we need to evaluate whether that is really well or the status of doing well. But it appears to me for every congested environmental situation, especially in certain big cities in Nigeria like Lagos, Port Harcourt, it is actually very unhealthy to remain on the road for too long. Because the level of greenhouse emission in Lagos is rated very high in the World Index. And I think Port Harcourt is also following that closely. And we must do something about it before we begin to kill ourselves slowly. The lecturer has also linked cycling as a way of attaining some well-being in life. So while we sustain our livestock production to get more protein, to eat more protein, we need also exercise to burn some fat. And cycling is a very friendly way of exercising because it doesn't contribute to greenhouse emission. It does not increase the CO2 and other greenhouse gases in the city, in the environment. So we need to work towards doing those things that will help us to live well. You may be exercising in your house, but you don't know the danger you inherit when you are on the road. But most disturbing, I see him also as a town planner is the nature of our road. Our roads are not designed in a friendly manner for all road users. So you have a challenge of even trying to cycle. I see most of them going towards the outskirts of Calabar to cycle. And I see many of them doing the cycling even in the stadium, in an open space like stadium. So what all this point to the fact that it's very unfriendly to even do jogging or walking on a road or cycling. So perhaps we need them to advise all the city planners in government and other agencies who are intervening in road construction. And also in few places where there are provisions for pavement to enable pedestrian traffic to move freely. Some of us also go there to park our vehicle and block this pedestrian walkway. So we have also a duty to educate ourselves to ensure that we have an environment that will sustain a healthy well-being of everybody. I agree that bicyclists are king, because when down the road, you have to give way to them. If you don't give way to them, then you will go to jail. The ones who have tried to compete with them, I know some who are still cooling off somewhere. But the most important thing is that they are truly having fun, real fun. Fun, healthier life, and building perseverance also to prepare them for the hectic life in our country presently. So those who can cycle should learn how to cycle. I don't think there is any age limit in cycling. And you don't also have to learn it only when you are young, but you can even learn it at this age. It's a friendly exercise for all of us. But before you cycle, meet your doctor if you are 45. I think that we need to thank Professor Inah Okon. I was wondering how I was going to connect bicycling to his own provision in geography, but he has done it very, very well. This is quite innovative, and it is in line with the kind of things we are poised to promote in this administration. We are also, as a strategic goal, we are to ensure environmental sustainability. So it's not just about speech making. If you have reason to pass through where you have the powerhouse, behind the fence of the powerhouse, you would have seen that we have cordoned off the green area. And this will go around the entire university. What we are trying to do is to now preserve all the green area. Calabar as a city for many years had been known to be green and clean. And we have to go back to that. So whatever it takes us in the university, we will preserve that, among other things, which we will unveil in the days to come. Well, most likely to also have some international attention. And we want to believe that during the hosting of NUGA game, that we will be able to present to the world truly an environment that will not only meet the admiration of all the sportsmen and women that will come, but also the whole world who may, and I know certainly will be watching us, even those who are not here in Calabar. So we have a commitment, so I want to call on everybody to help us build a green and clean campus here. And by extension, a Cross River State green and clean state. I'd like to thank you for proposing the establishment or Center for Sustainable Transportation. You know how we do this in the university, so you may as well carry on with that, and we will discuss it when you tell us more how we will drive this. So let me thank everybody for coming in. But as you go home, there is a commitment that we want from you, and that is, let's join hands to build a sustainable environment for all of us. Thank you.
On 21st January 2025. 26, oh, 26. 21st January 2026. And this lecture will be presented by Professor Isaiah Akpan. He's in the hall. Can we put our hands together for him? From the Department of Business Management. Yes, that is it. So same time, same venue. The topic is strategies execution, the organized war arsenal for consequential boom and doom of the business ecosystem. You can now afford to miss this lecture in the year 2026. So please come and listen. He will unravel what the boom and the doom is all about. At this point, may I please request members of the high table and all the principal staff here present to please go down take the University of Calabar song. Please remain where you are. Thank you so much. You, the University of Calabar song. Can we please rise? Thank you so much.
Expense of Nigeria's sky stands a school with a vision bright, ever holding the banner of knowledge high. We'll go forward by wisdom's might. All hail to the alma mater. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar. May our quest for knowledge in every field have its purpose to serve mankind. With the fervent hope that our efforts yield fruit for all who will come behind. All hail to the alma mater. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar. Mighty God, from whom all knowledge comes, let the wisdom in us overflow. May the knowledge gained in our campus here guide our steps as we onward go. All hail to the alma mater. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar.
Can we please clear the aisle? Recession commences immediately. Please clear the aisle. Thank you. Can we please clear the aisle? Thank you. Thank you so much. Recession to be led by the Vice Chancellor. Can we make way? Please clear the aisle.